So at the time of me doing this, Dame has not officially requested a trade, but there seems to be so much evidence that he's about to. By the way, you might hear an air conditioner in the background. It's either that or I start melting. I've already seen on Twitter a bit the idea of like, Blazers fans, you should accept this or something because the team wasn't a title contender. And I agree that they were not contenders, but I don't agree with that sentiment. I think this super sucks if you're a Blazers fan because it's much better to have Dame and be going for something every year than to have this, where the future of the team could just be really bad for a while. And that'll be the interesting thing of what should the Blazers look for in a return for Dame, assuming that this is real. I guess it's possible that they could get Dame to change his mind. I just don't really know. I mean, he's 31. You figure he's got, 4 or 5 years left of being awesome. Maybe longer than that, pulls a Chris Paul, goes until he's like 37, 38. But the clock is certainly ticking on his career at this point, right? So whether they can convince him to stay at this point, I don't know. But to think about a trade, should the Blazers just want to bottom out completely, or should the Blazers want to get a younger player, aka Ben Simmons, that they can build around and be excited about and not go the full process route? I mean, if you think about some trade offers, if you're going to go with like RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, and 9 million draft picks from the Knicks, it's cool, it's not amazing. If you want to do Brandon Ingram and a bunch of draft picks from the Pelicans, and I guess somebody else would have to be moving there in that move. Nobody else in that roster is really exciting. Obviously, you're not getting Zion. That's a little better than the Knicks package to me, just because I like Brandon Ingram more than RJ Barrett. Sorry, Knicks fans. If we think about the Warriors' return, which is James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, the 2 lottery picks, and then picks down the road, maybe you're also getting the guy they drafted last year or 2 years ago who didn't do much this previous year. I forget his name right now. Again, it's cool. It's not amazing. If the Raptors really wanted Dame, I think they could throw an interesting offer out there, potentially centered around the 4th pick and some Van Fleet, Anunoby. If Siakam was in the trade, that would be real wild. I don't know if the Raptors would want to go that aggressive with this. There's always still the Kyle Lowry thing of him just coming back, and there's some interesting things there, but I feel like that could be something, again, if they really, really wanted Dame. I'm sure Miami would want him. Tyler Hero, Precious Achua, they don't have a whole lot of draft picks. I don't think it's a whole lot. I mean, Indiana could try Sabonis as the heart of a trade, and okay, maybe that would be something. So we'll see. I've named a decent amount of teams. You could think of a move for any team if you try hard enough. I think the other conversation about Dame is, depending on what he's traded for, if we really get to that point, do you trade everybody else? Do you trade CJ, Nurkic, and go that route? I mean, again, I think if you acquire like an Ingram or a Simmons or a Sabonis, you might have to move Nurkic if you get Sabonis, but if you do that, I don't think you have to bottom out with the rest of the roster. Now, maybe you just do anyway, especially if you can move those guys for younger pieces that are not horrible. But I think there's potential for the Blazers to not just completely suck after a Dame trade. It's not a guarantee. And part of the reason I say this is because, and this is something that I've just started caring about more, is the Blazers, they're 13th in the NBA in earnings, and they're bunched up there with Miami, the Spurs, the Kings, whatever. And if they were to trade Dame and they do the whole lottery thing, I mean, they could dip down into the 20s. I mean, I know Portland's been a pretty stable market in the NBA for a while, but if you suck long enough, which is a possibility after trading your star, look at Orlando, then, I don't know, it's something to care about. Whether that means I think the Blazers are going to relocate in 7 years or not, probably not, but it's still something to care about. I mean, that was partly why the Grizzlies held on to Marc Gasol and Mike Conley for maybe a little longer than they really needed to. It's because they're literally last in the league in earnings. And if they didn't get Ja in the draft, there's a chance that would have been a real rumor. The Grizzlies thinking about relocating. So I know I saw on Twitter a bit of people imagining Dame and Giannis playing together. That would be amazing. I don't think the Bucks have the move. All of their picks are gone from the Drew trade. I don't think Middleton or Drew do much for the Blazers, given that they're in their late 20s. It should, of course, be said that if Dame makes it obvious that he only wants to go to a couple of teams, he'll probably get that. I mean, his contract, the extension hasn't even kicked in. So in theory, anybody would have the confidence of being like, well, if we trade for him, he's not going to leave. But that's just not how the NBA is anymore. So we'll see. I mean, the Blazers are not dead on this just yet. It certainly isn't looking good, but it's not like there's a Shams or a Woj tweet at the moment.